Remember when common sense was common? When standing up for what is right was the right thing to do? Welcome to The Right Side. Common sense conversations about Hawaii's political landscape and how it affects you, your ohana, and your community. Join us for the next hour as we cut through the political noise and look at Hawaii from the right side, where public officials and community leaders discuss the policies that affect our future, strategies that move the needle, and highlight leaders that are stepping up to make a difference. Get ready for The Right Side, a common sense conversation.
A lot of people think that's my uncle doing the read.
I can see why.
Can't right? A common sense conversation. Anyway, I'm Augie. Welcome to the show. We got a heavy topic today, Malia.
We do.
Yeah.
We do, but it's an important one and
Super
one
important.
that everyone should pay attention to, especially if you have children, grandchildren, nieces, nephews, and children around you that you need to watch out for.
Yeah, or people just in your community that you care about. How's that?
Definitely.
808-913-6450. That is the number to call, and we are live. Okay, because I know a lot of the shows, on AM 690, 94.3, pre-recorded, but we are live today. So if you want to jump in and ask questions, again, the number 808-913-6450. Okay, so children, growing up in the world today, confront different dangers than many of us did when we were kids, specifically, from like online predators. So during the COVID-19 pandemic, many children were forced to, go online, attend school online, and creating a larger digital footprint, isolated, and they also communicated with friends online. And parents and teachers have become more comfortable with children having digital devices. In some cases, parents have become more accepting of online activity, leading to increased vulnerability to new types of threats. Today, we will speak with three experts, and I'm looking at them right now, and they're ready to give you a lot of information, who dedicated their lives to protecting our Keiki. They will share insights on what dangers our Keikis face and how you can help to ensure they are safe. So if you're a parent, again, like Malia was saying, guardian, teacher, grandparent, or just people in our community that care about our youngsters that's in our community, you don't want to miss this show. So, Malia, you want to introduce our three guests?
Sure. So I have known Thalia Murphy since, 30 years. Watched her in trial. She's an excellent attorney. She began her career as a district attorney in Cook County in Illinois. After moving to Honolulu, she celebrated over 4 decades as a deputy prosecutor at the Department of Prosecuting Attorney. For the past 36 years, she has prosecuted sex assault cases almost exclusively. Miss Murphy is a graduate of Georgetown University Law Center.
Welcome to the show.
I've watched her through many trials, and she's excellent. She always keeps her cool. There's no rattling her, no getting upset. She's just amazing. Detective Jolyn Wagner has been with the Honolulu Police Department over 22 years. That's my lucky number, just to let you know. He has worked in the patrol districts, including Kalihi area and East Honolulu, the traffic division where he was an instructor with the drug recognition program, and he has been with the criminal investigation division since 2019. He's a member of the team investigating sex assault and other related crimes. And Melody Kaohu is a deputy prosecuting attorney with the Department of the Prosecuting Attorney's Sex Assault and Trafficking Team. She prosecutes sex assaults and other related crimes in the city and county of Honolulu. Born and raised in Hawaii, Melody graduated from the William S. Richardson School of Law with her Juris Doctorate from the Scheider College of Business with her master's in business administration in 2019. Well, you're just an overachiever. That's a lot of degrees.
Welcome to the show. This is a heavy topic, but we want to dive right into it because we only have an hour. And it'll feel like it's only 20 minutes. I promise. Okay, we are live. 808-913-6450 is the number to call. So we are concerned about our Keiki safety. But often we only think of the physical safety, like on the playground or at school. So what kind of dangers do our Keiki face in today's high-tech world?
So right now there's a lot of people out there that are using digital devices to make connections with our kids, to come into our homes instead of at the playground or anything like that, as you were saying before. And they're right there, and our kids are used to these digital devices, and they're used to communicating that way. And these people are using that to infiltrate our children's lives.
Now, you see it every day just about on like social media, TikTok, Instagram, and how, all across the nation, people are like getting caught, because there's a lot of people that also, doing whatever they can to make sure our kids are safe and, setting up traps and stuff because it's that easy. It's that easy. So are there any examples you guys can give from cases you have, maybe successfully prosecuted or others have to demonstrate what, predators are doing and how this is impacting our children?
We have a slew of men who are using, for example, Instagram or other sites, and they're befriending children. And these are not only high school children, but children who are 10 and 11 years old in middle school. And they do everything they can to gain the child's trust. And then the child goes either in their car or to their home. And then it's over. They're sexually assaulted every which way. And unfortunately, children don't tell right away. So it makes it even more difficult to identify the perpetrator.
Yeah, it's tough already as a kid who was abused, and I see things like that. It's just so I can't even imagine, being tricked or just losing trust with adults. Do you have any example, Melody, on like maybe stuff that you prosecuted,
Of course. I think right now with children, a lot of them are trusting online. They play games. They want to get famous on Instagram or TikTok, so they're accepting these friend requests from strangers, and they're giving out their personal identifying information. And these adult predators, they know the children are vulnerable. They know the children are trusting. And for a lot of my cases, they tend to introduce themselves to these children with an age that's not true, portraying themselves as younger individuals, gaining that trust, chatting with them daily, really building that rapport with the child so that later when they do want to meet up with the child, it's easy and the child doesn't think it's a problem at all. Once they do, like Valia said, unfortunately that can lead to the sexual assault, and sometimes it can also lead to photographs or pictures that they take, videos that they take that the perpetrators can later use to continue this course of conduct, because then the children feel ashamed.
Now, you've been in the department for a long time, so you've seen the shift. You've seen how it went from, how it was before. And, there probably were out there, but just make it so much easier now with online, right?
Yeah, I think I started with the sex crimes detail right before COVID hit and before we all got locked away and everything like that. So the cases that we're seeing now, there's a lot more of that digital type of case that is coming up. I think that there is that shift. I think, as you said, that towards using those digital devices because they can be anonymous. That's the thing about being online. You can be anonymous up until the point where, as Dahlia was talking about, going and meeting and being in the car and then getting them in the car. And at that point, the teenagers or the young kids are having a hard time saying no at that point.
Yeah, no. And it isn't right away. So these guys, these predators, it takes a while. They got to build some sort of relationship, and they got to find way. And these guys are not. They're experts. I mean, I was abused when I was a youngster. And I knew it was like, through and I look back now, a lot of manipulation, a lot of coercing. So I cannot imagine how an innocent kid, is responding to this, now where everything looks so amazingly bright colored. Hey, let me help you out. It's just, it's wild to just even think about what's happening online. So how many cases does HPD get reported annually? Has there been an increase, you think?
This is kind of a hard one for us to quantify, because we don't keep specific statistics on where cases originate. We have the types of cases. We are able to track the types of cases that we have, sexual assault, first degree, second degree, and the areas that they come from. But the facts of the case themselves, like was the meet initially on Instagram? Was it on TikTok? Was it on Discord? Those are the sorts of things that don't come, or they're not an easy way to. There's not an easy way for us to quantify those stats. That's very much an anecdotal thing that we'll get from each detective. Being in the detail, I know I've had 3 or 4 cases in the last year or so that have come up like that, and they come right on top of each other too. It seems to come in waves.
Wow.
And there's 8 detectives working in the sex crimes detail right now, and we have cases from all over. Everyone has all sorts of cases. So,
all right, we're talking online predators, and when we come back, Ross, it look like people are calling in. And if, again, you want to do that, 808-913-6450. When we get back, we'll talk more. We'll dive deep into what's happening online and how we can protect our children. It's the right side, a common sense conversation. Again, the number 808-913-6450. And thank you so much for listening to the program.
Welcome back to The Right Side with Hawaii public officials and community leaders. Let's get back to Common Sense Conversations.
808-913-6450. We are live, and we're talking online predators. I know Malia had a question.
I do, right, for Detective Wagner. So I had a son who played video games, and I now am hearing that could have been a situation where when you're online with other people, that's where somebody could be meeting somebody. Is that right?
Yeah, so these online role-play games, things like Roblox, things like Call of Duty. There was another one I just said, and it's lost my mind right now. But these are those types of games where people can get together and start chats, and they'll meet up with these people, and then it'll be, come over to this chat program, and use that to then start that conversation. And then they start with those exchanging of the personal information, even though they don't think it is. And things just kind of snowball from there with moving on to exchanging of photos or that sort of thing.
It's just wild for me to think about that because, as a mom, I wouldn't think like my son could jump from playing with his friends online to suddenly somebody else's, a predator gets in there, and then it's like right in your home, and they're online with the predator, and you're right there, and you don't even know that that's happening. It's wild and scary.
Absolutely. And it's, they're making those connections in those sort of role-play games. Minecraft was another one. You can have those any game that has a chat feature in it can be used to start those conversations in outside applications. And things like Discord were actually started for people to have conversations outside of whatever game they were playing. So, they were doing those sorts of things, setting up those conversations in other applications, Discord, Signal, Messenger, those sorts of programs, and then just building that rapport and that conversation with that child through those methods.
Yeah. And Melody, you were saying that it can be actually through any media that they can get approached from, huh?
Yes, I've seen a lot of different types of cases where the children are approached. It could even be on Reddit. It could be on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, any sort of platform that can be used to communicate online. The predators use it. They know where the children are. I think especially since the pandemic, everyone's been more comfortable being online. Parents have been more accepting. You need to use the computer, the internet to go to online classes. So everyone's become accustomed to and familiar with the internet. And unfortunately, these are the risks that come along with it.
Yeah. Can we talk about the penalties, Thalia? Yeah, because I think it's important. I'm gonna try my best to encourage parents and adults to kind of get involved You know what I mean? Like, you gotta kind of know what your kids are doing. I know you're not gonna be perfect, and I know they're gonna be sneaky because we are all kids. But gosh, we gotta be more, involved in some small way. So tell us about maybe some of the crimes or penalties or.
There's a variety of crimes that the sex crimes detectives investigate and bring to us. Everything from sex assault in the first, second, third degrees to violation of privacy, promoting pornography to minors, electronic enticement of children, and the penalties range everywhere from 5 years to 20 years.
Now, let me ask you this. Are they curable? Because I almost feel like they're not. So, like, is it a slap in the wrist? You go after, a child's vulnerability, an innocent kid. Like, 5 years feels like just a slap on the wrist for these guys who, one, know it's wrong. Two, 5 years. Maybe they get that mindset, or maybe because they've been in a program or they've caused so much chaos in their own personal lives that, I don't know. Are these most of the people that you're seeing are repeat offenders or,
Well, this is one of the most underreported crimes.
Okay.
It happens to people. It happens to children. Many of them never tell anyone, and most of them, 2/3 of all children sexually molested, don't tell until they become an adult.
Right.
That's an astounding figure.
Yeah, it's shame, and because of maybe how they were taught at home. Because the God's honest truth is I never come out to my parents until I was an adult where I realized, man, some of my shortcomings, not the bad things, but like my personal character might have been affected because of what happened to me when I was a young boy. And I think, as much as we try to educate, again, at the end of the day, parents, it's so important. You got to build trust with your children. You're a foster parent, the kids at home, they got to be able to feel safe. And then, it's going to take a while, but I think because the social media and we see more people sharing about their personal challenges, I hope that this mindset will change because like you said, a lot of them don't come out to the adults, but like, man, when we see our children being attacked the way they're being attacked now, how easy it is, because it always felt was easy when it came to me. The manipulation, the years, and I didn't realize how much it affected me until I was an adult. That's why I think this is so, if people are doing it, it's so disgusting, and I want to do whatever I can to make sure that stops. But again, it starts at home. You got to know what's going on in our children's life and parents who maybe are about the same age as me, like it's okay to talk about your shortcomings. It's okay. It'll build your children's strength and confidence inside if they know like this happened to you and just share. It's not shameful, So again, you think, maybe we can increase these penalties so that these guys and women don't do the things that they're doing to these children?
Well, the most severe penalty is 20 years.
20 years.
So that's a significant penalty. And in addition, people convicted of these crimes that I mentioned have to register. They have to register as sex offenders for the rest of their life. And that is a huge penalty to them. And that is why so many people fight these crimes, because they don't want to register.
Right.
I think I remember when Mark Bennett, Attorney General, that helped get that passed,
Yes.
the sex offender registry, because I remember covering that at the Capitol. That was an important.
It's extremely
Registration.
important. If someone registers, their information goes online. It says what the person was convicted of,
Where they live now. Oh, yeah, no.
car they drive, their employment, and it gives everyone notice this
Yeah.
person's a sexual predator.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I visited the website because I know who's in my community.
Yeah, it's kind of alarming actually when you go in there. You're like, oh, I have to be careful. I have to pay attention to what's happening. No more sending kids out to play on the street without staying out there with them, I think.
Again, let's go back to the police department. Like, what are some of the signs? If there's parents or uncles, aunties, or neighbors, what are some of the signs that maybe... well, I know it's hard because, maybe they're being coerced right now. Maybe they feel like they're being protected in some small way. But, like, Because again, it's so hard because this thing is like, almost connected to our bodies now, the cell phone, right?
Yeah. So you mean what signs do kids show when they're being courted or having been assaulted? Right.
I think that some of the things that you're going to see is the children becoming a little more secretive, trying to hide the device when it's coming up, or they're spending more time alone. They're maybe being more withdrawn, not engaging in those activities that they used to do.
Right.
Maybe sometimes not going to those websites that they used to, playing those games and those sorts of things. I think these are signs that maybe something's up. We maybe need to look at it. And I think what you were saying too is getting more involved, having family members and parents getting more involved, knowing what their kids are doing online.
Right.
Going in and checking, these phones and these devices are your devices. They're not your children's. You're allowing the children to use them. Make sure you go through and check those phones. Check what they're doing online.
Yeah, and the numbers out there, it's something like I read, it's like 1 in 3 women are molested, 1 in 4 men, or something like that. And
it's 1 of every 4 women are molested by the age of 18.
Correct.
1 out of every 4 girls and 1 out of every 6 boys.
That's right.
I wish I had $1 for every time someone came up to me and said, "Oh, I have boys, so I don't have to worry about them being sexually molested." And then I really give them an earful.
Yeah.
Because yes, you do absolutely have to worry about your boy getting sexually molested.
And I think one of the things too with that is that the number of reports for boys being molested is so much less than the girls being molested. We get less reports for the boys because it's supposed to be tough, not boys don't get molested.
Sure.
It's one of those
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
But we know that it does.
Yeah.
We know that so I think that's one of those, as we were talking about underreported statistics. I think it's the same way.
No, and that's the reason why I wanted to do this show because, 1, it happened to me. 2, I think it's important that we get the message out. It's just like suicide. We're told sometimes not good to talk about it, but I think it's so important to speak up and express because we just don't know. We live in a society that's so closed now, I think, because of the cell phone, and we just need more information like this and more people just talking about all those things because, when you talk about not there are signs, and when I told my dad, at 30, my dad remembered everything, and he's like, and it really broke him because he kind of knew, but and I think it's just so generational, or that's why I think it's important. That's why I'm not ashamed to talk about it because I think there's so many out there. I think it's more. I just feel like there's more boys, and like you said, we're told to you gotta be tough, you gotta be this, and you gotta be that, and you shame what? I don't like nobody know, but it does affect you, as an adult, and we gotta stop that vicious circle, and we do that, hopefully by maybe doing much more than just 20 years to people that put harm on kids and educating the public big time in our schools and whatever ways we can, through this radio show or even on social media.
I was curious about how far has this gone where, a child gets targeted like this? I mean, has it led to suicide? Has it led to other issues happening where...
Okay, keep that thought.
We got to go on a break?
Yes, we got to go on a break. I know. We was going to go right into it. But
go deep, right?
808-913-6450. Deep topic. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to The Right Side with Hawaii public officials and community leaders. Let's get back to Common Sense Conversation.
All right, we're talking online predators, 808-913-6450. Malia, you was ready to get into it. We have 2 more breaks. I just think this is a very important topic. And, if we don't get everything out today, we'd love for you guys to come back. We'll do more homework, maybe, and get, again, to give. I'm just so thankful that I have this Wednesday every week to educate the public, to be transparent so that people can educate themselves and have the tools they need to, to just be a little bit more akamai. That's it. That's all I'm asking. Malia, what's your question?
Well, I was going to say, just to remind everybody, just tuning in that we have Thalia Murphy and Detective Wagner and Melody Ka'ohu from the Department of Prosecuting Attorney and HPD to talk about how to protect your children online. And so one of the questions I had was about the long-term impacts on a child that has been targeted and whether, for example, you see kids commit suicide or they have lifetime issues, or what was your experience, Thalia?
There's a variety of fallout for a child who's been sexually assaulted: depression, possible suicide, later on relationship problems, nightmares, trouble sleeping, substance abuse. The list goes on. And we have seen in our work a difference between children who've gone through therapy, had some therapy, and those who did not. So even if the parents never report the case to the police, or if they do report it, it's important for your child to get therapy by someone trained to give this type of therapy, someone who will address the sex abuse issues.
Right. I can imagine that would be just, I don't know how you, I mean, it's just so tough to imagine getting over it when you're a child and getting through it. But
let me ask you this, the people that you guys are prosecuting, did they or share that they were molested as children? Is there, do you see?
There's no correlation.
There's no correlation?
Right? People think that there is.
Yeah.
But in
No,
fact,
it's good.
there
I
is
just wanted
not.
to know.
You asked me earlier, you hinted, Augie, about therapy for perpetrators.
Mm-hmm.
And the way I can answer that is that they are the most resistant population to therapy.
Why
to
is
getting
that?
therapy.
Why do you think that, after doing this for so many years?
Well, when they get access, when they're faced with the temptation,
Mm-hmm.
many of them cannot help themselves.
Wow.
Some of them do succeed in therapy, do take on the tools that they're given so that they won't make thinking errors, so they don't have thinking errors, so they don't do the bad thing to a child. But for many of them, the therapy doesn't do anything.
Oh, so sad. So sad to even think about that.
yeah, what about you, Melody? Have you had any cases, or you don't have to talk about your own case, but just seen impacts on children where it's like a lifetime issue?
I have seen it. It's very unfortunate for a lot of the kids, like Thalia said, they end up being depressed. A lot of them do have substance abuse issues that grow and increase to starting from alcohol from a young age to deal with it. And sometimes the perpetrators are providing them with the alcohol as well, or the vapes, as the kids like to use. And that later escalates to harder drugs, mental health problems, issues with the family, leaving the family, and worst case scenario, suicide. And it's very unfortunate. I think the symptoms can really range. And I know that Detective Wagner talked about how sometimes kids can show symptoms of being sexually assaulted or being in such a relationship with a perpetrator. But also, there are times children don't show any symptoms at all. I think that's why it's so important for parents to take an active role in communicating with their child, ensuring them that they're not in any trouble when they're having these talks with the kids.
Yeah.
They just want you to be honest. This is what's going on. I just want to let you know that I'm worried about you. I'm always worried about your safety. So whatever you want to tell me, you're not in any trouble.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing, right? You automatically think that, I'm getting scoldings. No, you're not getting scoldings. And again, it takes, willpower, being humble, and just, really 100% wanting to invest in your children. Look like you wanted to say something, Detective.
I did. So
yeah.
One of the things that I think this is a good forum for is this show maybe helps families to start that conversation.
Good.
I think it's an important thing for families and parents to be able to have an idea or an outlet to be able to start the conversation with their kids about, all the things that are going on in their lives. Not keeping secrets. There's difference between secrets and then surprises. There's those differences, and having that outlet and this forum here to be able to jumpstart that conversation with families, I think, is really important. And thank you for having this and doing this.
Well, 808-913-6450. If you want to jump on, you have a question. I got to say hi to the mayor of Waikiki, Tim Gary. He's listening in.
Ah,
yeah, Tim.
okay.
Yeah, it's like,
Well,
hey, Augie, I'm listening.
I do have a question.
Okay.
Okay. So if you have children, or if you were going to talk to a child, I know you said you have a son. I have a son. And at least for a mom, it's like hard to get into the conversation with your son, like about sex, right? Or those kind of things. I mean, it's a little awkward. And I was a single mom. So, so how do you get into the conversation as a dad with your son or with your daughter, what you're talking about, like to tell them, be careful online and this is what you should watch for? I was just wondering if any of you have thoughts on that. Like, how would you start the conversation with your son if I was your son?
It's usually it's me talking about things that have happened at work and no details or anything.
That's
like
smart.
that.
Yeah,
just about I had this today, and just bringing that part up, and then making those connections. Which platforms are you using? I saw Snapchat on your phone the other day. Who are you talking to on Snapchat?
Yeah.
And who's your friends? What are your friends' names on Snapchat? Are they people from school, or do you know this person, or who is it?
And what if they go, Dad, why are you asking me so many questions?
Because I want to make sure that you're safe. I think that trying to, again, it's hard. It's hard trying to talk to your kids about sex.
Yes.
Trying to bring that conversation up, but I think it is an important one.
Sure. Yeah.
No, I think it's good. It just giving parents any tips at all, because it's tough to be a parent and then your kid gets like, why do you keep asking me so many questions? Especially if they're a teenager, right? They'll just storm off to their room, potentially.
I think what Melody was saying earlier, just making sure that they know that they're not in trouble.
Yeah.
This is, something that's happening nowadays. We need to start this conversation because I want to, I'm not your friend, I'm your parent, but I want to help you through anything that is coming up.
Yeah.
Is there something coming up that's concerning you?
Yeah. Yeah. No,
and how far would you take it? Would you, any of you ever say, with kids, like, these things do happen and, this is what you should watch out for? Or would that scare them? Or what do you think? What do you think about that?
I don't think children get as scared as we think they would be. They see a lot on the internet. There's so much. They know a lot more than we think they do. They know probably more than we do about things that are online. But I think creating that space where they feel comfortable, or just informing them like, hey, I'm not saying this because you're doing this right now, but, if you're meeting or you're chatting with people on the apps, are they people you actually know in real life? If they're strangers, not everyone out there in the world is a good person. They might present well to you, but they could have bad intentions. And there are a lot of things that are happening. I just want to make sure you're safe. So for parents, that could be, making sure that they have the privacy settings on the apps, making sure, telling their children, if you get strange requests from people you don't know online, don't add them. Yeah. Just add your friends, add people and that's the whole point, right? Or if there are people that they're chatting to online, vet it. Like, oh, who is this person talking to you? And just making sure that they're aware. If this person is making you feel weird or talking about strange things, let me know.
Yeah.
If it sounds wrong, it feels wrong, it is wrong.
Yeah. Here's the most important thing. I'm paying for the bill. Guess what? You know what I mean? Like, no, that's the God's honest truth. Like, my kids, like, if I'm paying for that, I like know what you on. I like know what apps you paying for. I like know why you on it. Just tell me. And again, and maybe because I'm a different kind of parent because of what happened with me, and I've always been honest and open with my children. I think it's so. Like you said, the kids are seeing stuff that we never see when we were growing up. So, just being honest with them and saying, look, I pay for your phone. Let me see. And then do a physical check. How's that one? Just do, hey, what are you looking at that for? I get I have the IP address. Guess what? I know exactly what you're looking at. And, it's not to make you shame, but I just make sure that you are doing things safe. And I know I'm not a parent that's not in the know. I just know what you're looking at. And for me, I just think honesty is the best. But
lucky for you, your kids are all grown up.
Yeah, and they're good kids. So I got a big shout out to my children. But at the same time, if you talk to them, they'll tell you, "Oh man, Dad used to be like, oh," and because I'm paying for the bill. Hello.
I think my kids my kids were so sad because there was a lot of things they weren't allowed to do because I see so much stuff.
Same thing, and I always push the responsibility. All right, if you get caught, you're doing stupid stuff, it's your fault. Don't blame anybody else. Take responsibility because you'll learn from it. I don't care you make mistakes. I don't care, you'll learn from it. I want to talk about, I know we got to go to a break, but how do kids eventually get extorted by the threats leading to, snowball of bad results? You want to try to answer that, Thalia?
Well, unfortunately, many of the predators invite the child to send a nude picture of themselves or a nude video, and that may even instruct the child to engage in some type of sexual act.
Right.
So the child sends it over, and then the predator has got them.
Right.
If you don't do X, Y, and Z, I'm going to put this up on the internet for everyone to see, or I'm going to send it to your parents.
Yeah.
And once it goes up on the internet, it's there forever.
Ever, yes.
And we've had some suicides. We've had children who've really suffered as a result of just something that they think is so simple. Okay, I'm just going to send it to this guy. I can trust him, and it's not. It's called sextortion. Actually.
Yes. Yeah.
That's so sad.
All right, when we come back, we'll wrap up. And again, I'm so thankful that we've had this discussion. I hope, I wish one day we can go longer, but, right now we have an hour.
Well, when we come back, I want to ask, what should parents and kids do if their kids have been targeted?
Okay. All right, 808-913-6450. This is the right side of Common Sense Conversation. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to The Right Side with Hawaii public officials and community leaders. Let's get back to Common Sense Conversations.
And I go, 808-913-6450. It's Mornings with Augie. I'm sorry. Maybe one day I get to share that story on the air, but
it's not Mornings with Augie.
No, it's not Mornings with Augie. By the way, you can
time of day.
Listen to Mornings with Augie weekday morning from 6 to 10 on our sister station, Decades 107.9. And yes.
And you record it right over there.
Right next door. Yeah,
Yep.
So anyway, but I hope you guys enjoyed that story.
We won't go on the air with that story. You will be arrested. Detective will have to arrest you.
And the sad thing is that everybody had their phone. I was recording, and I was like, what are you guys doing? No, the deal was no recording.
Oh, okay. For another day.
Yes.
So we have just a few minutes and we wanted to wrap up, but just to remind everybody, we have Thalia Murphy and Detective Wagner and Melody Kaohu, and they're here talking about protecting your children online. And one of the questions I really wanted to get in was, what do parents do, or what do grandparents do if they see that they know, or they find out that their child was targeted and hurt in some way? What do you do? Because now if you have this picture that's out, or this video, or the child's been assaulted.
I think the most important thing is not to delete anything. If you can take the device and put it on airplane mode, or turn off any of the transmitting capabilities of it, take screenshots of any of the messages that were sent, everything and anything that was sent. I know videos and photos, you probably want to get rid of that, but you want to try and keep that for us, because that is evidence that we're going to be able to use.
I think parents too, if you guys are listening, there are tools you can put on your children's phone without them knowing that you're collecting their data, you're looking at what they're looking at, and even if they delete it, you can get it back. So, there are programs, you just got to go dive into it. It's some can be pricey, but if you're worried about your children, you might want to take that step to find out.
Yeah. Anything else that you think parents should do, or websites they should check?
I think call 911 as soon as you find out that this is happening. Call 911. Try and prepare all that evidence for the initial officer that responds, and then have them make that case, and then it will get sent up to the Criminal Investigation Division, where we can take care of the follow-up investigation. When you're talking about websites that are available to help with other resources and tools, we have the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, or NCMEC. That's a good one that has a lot of resources on there. NetSmart is one of their tools that they have. And, there are the FBI has a website that is also devoted to helping out and helping to report and that sort of thing.
Well, we're going to put all these websites online, if we'll get them from you after the show, and put them with our YouTube show that we're going to post on our YouTube channel, so that parents can get this information, or grandparents, and be able to click on the websites you mentioned and so on. So thank you.
You guys want final thoughts? Atalia, Melody, you guys must have a lot that you... and again, I know this is... It's an hour show, but still not enough, to have like a really deep conversation. It's, unfortunately, that's where it's at right now, and we'll get you guys back again so that, maybe if anything we missed here, we'll do a follow-up to make sure that the parents and people listening, and again, because we upload this to our YouTube page, and, we get about 7 people that watch it. They can get all the information.
We actually get more because
I just play.
We partnered with Mean Hawaii,
yes,
and some other big Instagram, and social media people, and along with Councilmember Tobel has a big council website as well as his personal.
Yes.
So it does get out there to people in Hawaii. Yeah,
I was just playing.
Okay,
I just wanted to see the reaction.
No, thank you for having us.
I thought it was going to be 8 because I was going to go home and watch it.
Yeah.
Talia, I'm sorry.
What I wanted to say is, when I was growing up, we were told, beware of strangers.
Yeah.
And then when you start doing sex assault cases as a professional, you want to tell the whole world, tell your children to beware of their friends and family, because in most sex assault cases, the child knows the perpetrator. It's someone they know and trust.
Yeah.
And with these men trolling Instagram and other sites now to lure children to them, we're back to saying, beware of strangers. And like Melody said, you don't know who you're talking to online, and that person is a stranger and can do you great harm.
Wow.
So that's what we need to bring home to kids.
Yes.
I just wanted to add.
go
Sorry.
ahead.
One thing is, when parents find out that their children were targeted, I want, if possible, the parents to let the children know they're never at fault for what happens. They feel a lot of shame, remorse, and they feel that they're the reason why the family's in that situation. That's not true at all. It's always the perpetrator's fault, but the children don't feel that. So I want parents to let their children know and get therapy or counseling if they can.
Yeah, super important. Yeah, I think that's a good point. Again, we're there for protect, but at the same time, if you're not communicating with your children correctly, they might take it the wrong way. Let them know that, these things that happen now in this day and age, you can share. I know my kids don't like hearing, when I was growing up, they don't want to hear that. But, it's important to let them understand and know that, we live in different times, and you guys are more exposed than some of the things that we had. And, we just want to make sure that you stay safe. And I think super important. Good advice. Final thoughts, guys. I see, Miss Producer over there going, can we wrapping this thing up?
Detective Wagner, do you have any final thoughts?
I do. I think one of the things that I want to kind of say too is that how kids react to things is very dependent. They mirror a lot of the time how we react to things. So if we react with horror and everything like that, no matter how bad it is, the children are going to reflect that, and they're going to see that, maybe I am at fault. And take that in as a personal thing as well, I think.
Wow. I really appreciate you guys being on today. I hear the music. Man, again, we'll do this again. Thank you, Malia, for, setting this up. Who do we have next week?
So next week we have Roger Babcock. He's
Okay.
going to talk about everything gross
Sewage
in
fees.
town, like all the sewage and the trash and how to
Come on.
recycle and do all these important things that we need to. He's this Department of Environmental Services. But after that, we're going to have Mike Lambert.
Yeah.
And he's going to come on the show, and I'm excited about that. Been trying to get him on for a while. So about his new department and the new cases that he's taken on.
Perfect. Well, you guys have a nice day, and I thank you again for coming by the right side.
We thank you.
Thank you.
you.